Hello, good morning. Grab a coffee. Let's get started. All right, today we're going to be talking about the basics of functions, what they are and what they do. If we go over to MDN, basically says a set of statements that performs a task or calculates a value. In other words, it's a block of code that does stuff. Not wrong, it's just a lot less specific, I guess. So here we have a function that we've called func, and it will console log that the function works. And that's really just so we know that it works, right? To keep things simple, so we know how to call functions and how they work and all that. We're just going to console log a few things. Now I've commented out the little bit of code, the one line that will call it, because currently JavaScript reads it, understands it's there, and then just moves on. So basically in this file, we would have just this get initialized. It would skip over what would call the function, and then it would console log outside of the function. And then we actually have a little bit more stuff down here. This second function is call a function. So one thing you can do in a function is call a different function. It can get pretty complicated, but the basics would be, if some certain conditions were met, call this other block of code. Now, for simplicity's sake, we're not doing conditionals. It's just going to call the code, right? So as it stands, if we run this, what we have, the only thing that we see in, well, that took a long time. The only thing we see is this console log that says outside the function, because we've initialized func, we've initialized call func, but we haven't, as you can see here, called either of them, right? So what we're going to do, uncomment this and run it again. Why is it taking 3/4 of a second? Anyway, so two things. We've called the function, so it console logs that the func works. Great. And then it also console logs outside of the function, and notice the order in which they are printed to the console. So we can move things around. Let's clear this, run the code, wait an eternity. I'm not sure why it's taking so long. I need a new computer. But there we go. So the orientation does matter, right? Because it goes in order. Despite the function being at the top, what it's going to do is, right, understand this. It's going to console log outside of the function. It's going to run func, and then it's going to continue. So what we're going to do, we're going to comment that out. Let's comment that out as well, because we kind of get that. And then the second function, when this one is called, it's going to call the first function, right? In order to do that, we can uncomment this, and we will run the code, and the function works, right? Because we're not console logging anything in this function. We're just saying, hey, we've initialized this, and then when we run this line of code, it says do everything in here. So from this bracket to that bracket, just do that, which is, as we know, just console logging that the function works. So yeah, those are the basics of calling functions, and like you kind of get the fact that anything you put in there, assuming the code is correct, will run. The one little fun thing about JavaScript that I like is that if you want a function to run automatically, you can wrap it in parentheses like we've done here, and then immediately after that closing parenthesis, you can do another set of parentheses, and it will call itself essentially. So if it's just a block of code that you want to run as soon as the file is opened, this is how you would do it. The other thing, see, right there. The other thing you could do, of course, is like we did above, just the two lines essentially. So you have the one function defined, and then call it, and then it does what happens below. This is just perfectly normal JavaScript. It's legal, and you can use it if you want. I guess that's it for this video. I don't have anything else to say. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Thanks for